We're in the village of Thurn, and we're going to kayak out. There's two mills here. Now you'd think the mill in Thurn will be called Thurne Mill, and a lot of people call it Thurne Mill, but it's actually known as Morse Mill. That's the big white one. And then there's another mill we're going to paddle out to, which is on the other side of the marshes. And I've never actually done this. I'm actually going to go across the river to that one to see if I can get some good shots of that one from the riverside. A bit cold today. So, incredibly, I'm just paddling up towards Morse Mill, and as you see behind me, the sails are actually turning, which is very, very rare to see in the Norfolk Broads nowadays. So that's beautiful. So that's where you could put in, and it's incredibly shallow, and there's only one little pier here you can pull up to. So a kayak is perfect for this. You couldn't even do this in a small boat, I don't think, because it's reeds and twigs and everything in the water. But here, of course, you get a lovely view, and I'm going to take some photographs. So here we are waterside of St Benet's Mill. As you can see, there's no other way to get here. You're in the middle of fields and countryside. There's no actual tracks or path. So again, by taking the kayak, we can get an unusual shot of the mill. But in fact, we can get two mills in. We can probably get both the mills in, which would be great from this vantage point. So we'll try and do that. So now we're on the other side of the marshes. I'm actually going to walk and see if we can get a nice shot of Thurne Mill, or Thurne Dyke Mill, or Morse Mill from here as well. So we've walked down the dyke. There's a few small private cottages right on the river, which are absolutely beautiful. But if you come beyond them, you can see this lovely lookout here. So you've got the marshes in front, you've got this really bright green little cottage, and then you've got Thurne Mill in the background. Now, because Thurne Mill is turning, of course, and I'm doing multiple exposures, I may get a nice effect on the actual sails, we'll see. Time for some lunch. Lovely spot for a lunch. There's actually a big sailing boat coming around the corner here. Looks like an old Norfolk barge possibly. And if that comes in front of the mill, is he coming this way? He certainly is. Better get the camera ready for this next shot. So the lesson here is always be ready. I was very lucky. Again, just a polarizer, autofocus, and shooting at 125 at f10. f10 gives you good depth of field, and 125 because this light is very bright today. So I pay £8 today, and then I keep the receipt for Asher. I've got, you've pretty much changed it, haven't you? I've got £10. Right. Thank you. See you around. So one thing which I had read about, and I should know about, and I should tell everyone about, is that any kind of boat, paddleboard, inflatable, anything, you need to get a license for to be on the Norfolk Broads. That's what pays for everything on the Norfolk Broads. So I had to buy a 1 day, which is a week's worth of license from the ranger who just pulled me over. A really nice bloke, told me all about the mills, told me about everything. There it goes behind me. And it cost me £8 for a week, or £32 for a year. Then you get a sticker like this, which you put on your boat, which is not easy on an inflatable kayak. But I'm probably going to put it on the back of the seat. Legal. So, being pulled over by the ranger has some uses. I've had a lot of questions answered that I wanted to find out. The river that I was on originally is the Thurn River. That's one of the shortest rivers on the Norfolk Broads, only about 5.5 miles long. So Thurne Dyke Mill, as it's officially known on the Ordnance Survey map, been nicknamed Morse Mill, that's the white mill I was talking about, nicknamed Morse Mill by the local villagers because a guy called Morse bought it years and years ago. So it's still known as Thurne Dyke Mill. So Thurne Mill over in How Hill is Thurne Mill, and this is Thurne Dyke Mill. The other mill near here, just right behind me, is called St Benet's Mill, because that is part of St Benet's Abbey, which is a ruin which takes you further on the river Thurn that way. And now we're going to head up the river here, up the River Bur, to Orby Mill, which is one of the oldest mills on the Norfolk Broads, 1740s, 1750s. So we're going to explore that now. It's on the other side of the Bur, so he says you need a kayak to get into it. So that's where we're heading. Sometimes it's useful to be pulled over by the ranger. So here we are at Orby Mill, just pulled in, one of the oldest mills in Norfolk apparently. It's a lovely put-in, little pier here which I can just moor up at. Lovely old boat, and well, not that old. And so we're going to see if we can get some shots, going to go and scout the location and see what we can find. So I've come around the back of Orby Mill where there's a small pond. And there's a little old fence that goes down into the water. Now, I've always learned and always thought the best thing for landscape photography is to have some detail in the foreground and also something that leads the eye to the subject you're shooting. And this is a beautiful example of that. If you look behind me, you've got the mill, and then here you've got that fence. So if you shoot it, the fence will lead your eye up to the mill in the background, and with a polarizer you get a really nice reflection through the water of the mill itself. So let's see what we get with that. And now for another shot, some daffodils growing. So I've taken a shot over the daffodils, again using this wall here as a guide for the eye leading up to the mill. Another great trip. Thanks for joining me on Photo Kayak Tours. See you on the next one.